because 99% of mining revenue comes from the block subsidy, the minting of new Bitcoin, and not fees. But as we all know, the block subsidy goes to zero, and then all that's left is fees. And so, every 4 years, every halving, fees become more and more important. And so as fees become more and more important to Bitcoin, any small financial performance difference you can make and latency around the fees, it's going to become more meaningful for miners. So just be aware of that dynamic changing over time too. So something in the past that everyone just rolls their eyes at, or it's inconsequential, all of a sudden becomes quite meaningful. And these latency improvements with Stratum absolutely matter for that as well. A slight tangent to that, I've mentioned the FPPS payout mechanism. It gets more and more financial risky over time because FPPS pays out a guaranteed amount to miners every day, covering both the block subsidy and the fees. Obviously, you already know what the block subsidy is ahead of time. That's predictable. You have no idea what the fees are until the blocks actually get mined. So what's typical is that a pool will look at the past 24 hours or some time period, typically 24 hours, and be like, well, here's the total amount in fees. And so that then they use that to derive how much they pay out to the miners. That's highly variable every day. And
what's a high-low split on that today?
Between
Coinbase reward versus transaction fees, is it like in the highest fee environments, what does it look like? In the lowest fee environments, what does it look like? Just to get a sense of.
I mean, right now the mempool is almost empty, so the transaction fees are minuscule. So it's like less than 1%, I'm sure. In high fees, like a year ago during the halving, like the extreme crazy high fees when like runes were being minted or whatever.
It was like half, no?
It was like substantial.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was like even more than the Coinbase. I mean, it was substantial. So there's a big range, but in general, it's pretty low.
Cool.
But it obviously goes up. I mean, it gets to 100% eventually. We don't know what the absolute number is going to be, but it definitely goes to 100%. And, I think Bitcoin's not an interesting experiment if it doesn't pick up demand for transactions and fees. Otherwise, it's just a ETF database and not really an interesting project.
I think that's what some people are scared of right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a legitimate scare. It's a long-term scare. I'm not worried about it in the short term, but for many years we've been talking about, well, we need to see demand, we need to see fees increase, and we're still not seeing that. The only time we see fees increase is tokens and shitcoin stuff, spam on the blockchain. So in any case,
you're like, I need to use Bitcoin, but not that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted to point out that FPPS gets even riskier over time with these highly variable fees.
Right.
It just increases the chance of pools going bankrupt. So I think FPPS as a centralization force is very nasty and one of the bigger risks to Bitcoin. I also happen to think it naturally resolves itself because pools will go bankrupt, but that would be very, very bad and disruptive. So hopefully it gets resolved through technology like a Braidpool project. If Braidpool works technically, then the short TLDR, if it works technically, instead of waiting every 10 minutes for a block to be produced, this Braidpool separate blockchain could be as fast as like every 100 milliseconds. So you're reducing variance because every 100 milliseconds, a miner could get shares they could sell on an open market. And so instead of having to wait, I mean, you basically reduce it by like 3 orders of magnitude, this variance. So what I was complaining about before about like, oh, you might have to go months without getting paid. So of course you're not going to solo mine. You got to team up with others. Well, if those months shrink to like hours, well, then lots of people can solo mine. Yeah. So that would be the beauty of the Braidpool. And then, so if it does work, literally pools don't need to exist.
Not even
every miner would run Braidpool software, and every miner is a quote pool, and there just really is no pools.
And you could get streamed via Lightning, right? Like real time.
And another, like I mentioned, the Ant Pool and Friends, and they're a centralization point. And like these other pools have partnered with the Ant Pool because of these economic challenges. Well, so they partner with Ampool because that's the one entity, or there's like one or two entities who are even big enough to do that. But with Braidpool, it could be a global free market. You could sell this to any financial investor in the world.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants this type of exposure could buy these shares literally every 100 milliseconds. So it's very attractive.